So where I think people might get the idea is, okay, if I'm in a relationship with my wife and she serves me dry chicken again, right? Which is a common theme in my household. And actually, thanks to the internet, it's actually changed now because she's gotten thousands of people that have now sent her how to keep the chicken moist. So she does a great job. But for we're talking about 2 decades of my life. We're talking about dry chicken. This is a problem.
It is.
It's and you know what I did? I didn't say anything because I just would drink more water, more water at dinner. Yeah. I fear that sometimes people say, well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run around and I'm going to tell the truth to everyone all the time on these little things that don't matter. Now, my actual best example that I've ever heard of this, we had a guy on the podcast named Charlie Plum. He was a pilot in Vietnam. He was shot down on his last mission of his deployment. He was shot down. He was captured. He was in the Hanoi Hilton for 6 years. This is the deal that they had amongst their roommates. So they had roommates in a room smaller than we're in right now. And there'd be 4 of them in there, 3 of them in there, 2 of them there, depending on what was going on. If you did something that annoyed me, if Jordan does something that annoys me, we got to live together. If you do something that annoys me, it's my fault. It's my fault for allowing you click your nails together, or you pick your nose a lot, or you itch your head. Whatever it is that you do that bothers me, it's my problem, and I have to absorb it. Because otherwise what we have like rats in a cage that are going to gnaw each other apart. And I thought about that while I was reading the part of the book that was saying, like, and you actually also later in the book talk about, hey, are you going to get in a fight over this little stupid thing, or are you going to absorb? And I talk about that a lot as a leader, as a person in a relationship. Hey, there's problems from your boss. You absorb them, and you don't pass them down to your people. You want us to stay work or stay late and do a bunch of crazy stuff that we don't think we should be doing. Cool. My guys are going to go home. I'm going to absorb that. I'll get it done myself. I'm going to absorb these problems. Now, are there some tertiary effects, of course, or secondary effects that now my boss thinks he can get away with that and all those things? But I just think we have to be careful that we're not just throwing spears of truth in people's heads
well, I think
on a regular basis.
Those are black truths. They're the opposite of white lies, right? So black truths are truths you use to hurt other people with, right? And so technically, in the moment, the statement is factual, but the context belies it, right? Whereas a white lie, it's like, well, it's a little lie, but you're trying to support a larger truth. Not that white lies aren't optimal. It's better not to lie, but sometimes the best you can manage is a white lie. And then maybe that's better. Chicken tastes pretty good. Well, okay, so then in those sorts of situations, you think, well, first of all, I have some rules of thumb. If someone does something at work that annoys you, it's like, write it off, man. It's like, that's once. It's like, what does that mean? You're having a bad day, or I'm having a bad day? It's like, doesn't mean anything. Do it twice. Think, it's okay. Let's write that off. It's the same issue. It could still just be circumstance and situation. 3 times. Okay, now there might be grounds for a conversation. You go and say, well, you put your feet up on my desk like a day ago, and that was okay, but then you did it again, and then like you did it again. And I'm thinking, it actually happened 3 times, right? So there's no denying it, and perhaps that's not optimal. And then you go for the smallest possible victory. That's the next thing, is like, I'm not telling you that you're, what would you say, that you lack respect or that there's something wrong with you. What I'm asking is that if you come in my office, it would be better for both of us if your feet stayed on the floor. Is that okay? And that's a small thing. You're not going after the person's character, right? You're going after the tiny victory. So you say to your wife, look, like, I'm thrilled to death that you're cooking me dinner. I'm serious, and it could be a hell of a lot worse than it is, and maybe I could be more helpful around the kitchen. That's certainly a possibility. But I have got this thing with regards to chicken, and maybe it's me, but could we try for like a month to cook it differently, and then we'll revisit it. And if I happen to be wrong, like, I'll shut the hell up. And she might think, okay, well, he is kind of useless around the kitchen, and he's sort of bitchy about the chicken and all of that, but maybe I trust him enough to admit that I made a small mistake and rectify it, and we could go along and not have the damn chicken thing hanging over our heads till we're 80, right?
You just, in your second example there, I tell people this all the time. So you're coming into my office and you're putting your feet on the desk. What I'll generally do is make it my fault. I'll generally say, hey, Jordan, I hate to be like a nitpicker, but I'm really freaked out about germs. It's really stupid, but I am. And when you come in and put your feet on my desk, it freaks me out. Can you just do me a favor and not put your foot on my desk when you come here? The same thing with with the chicken. It's like, hey, you know what? I have a super sensitive palate.
Refined.
And it's a super refined,
so
sensitive palate.
I'm just too refined for your damn chicken.
But and I just. Could we maybe figure out another way to cook that, or could we try? But I'll take the blame for the situation rather than you're disrespectful and don't put your feet on my desk. This is
you don't want to adopt more of a position of moral superiority than is absolutely necessary.